Even if it's not a journey you've walked through before, it's a telltale sign that someone dropped the ball on the parenting duties. Because that's the first thing we are taught. And I'm speaking now as a parent. That's the first thing you teach your child. Mama, don't throw that, you'll hit that other child. And they'll hurt and they'll feel pain. Right? Sharing. Throw the ball to them. Let them also kick it. You're done with your turn. Let them also swing or go on the slide. Those small little things you might imagine don't have a lasting impact or effect. Trust, they do. That's why we're walking aloud. Walking aloud. That's why we're walking around with you and your manlessness. But to be honest, some things are better set in us when we're still young. Those first years, they play a big part in who we end up being in the long run. I said empathy, I said being accountable, integrity. Let me tell you, my daughter might not be able to spell encyclopedia at 7, but she sure as hell knows what integrity is. And we always remind her in the house before we say our evening prayer, and we talk about the day, because we do that. Like our wind down to bed always has, how was your day? You know, just to get in her head and find out what challenges she had and how we can pour into that situation so she can have learned something, she could let go of something. Let me tell you, integrity is very important. Integrity says, or rather amplifies, shouts where you're from. Doing the right thing when nobody is not just watching, but clapping. A lot of times as human beings, we love. We live for the glory and validation of others. Oh, Yolanda, look at you. Yolanda, you're a good person. Absolutely, you're quiet. Dan, you're very courageous. We love to be told by others and for them to point out the traits that, are endearing. But lo and behold, going against the grain is something that must be installed in you from an early age. What instantly tells you a person wasn't raised right? The lack of integrity. I will say that, the lack of integrity. I've worked in very different organizations, and I have seen things, and I'm like, I wonder who, an African thing, we always just ask that question. Who is your mother? Nani ni mama yako? Whose hands did you come from? Because that's the person who is the not just co-creator with God, but that's the person who helps install the software. What software were you installed? What software was installed in you is what I mean. And I'll say it again, integrity. I know we're going to say your parents can only do too much, and I'm a parent too. You can only do too much. Some things are free will, choice, Yolanda, because no parent will sit a child down and teach them how to smoke or have sex. So, but I'm like, the software is very telling of where you come from, because no matter what, you'll always come back home to yourself. No matter what, sometimes I want to do certain things, but I just think about how my mom would react if she found out. And I think again. Of course, there's things I've done that go against everything that I was raised to be. And I'm like, hey, you can't dictate. There's certain things that your parents should not necessarily dictate, like who you end up with, like your spouse. You understand? There's certain things, religion, for instance, is a personal thing as well. Who you marry, which God you decide you want to pray to, those are things that are personal decisions. But the others, how you conduct yourself, the things that you believe in, sometimes we can go off course, but not completely out of this world. Upbringing has a key role to play in the person that you are. So kama kana tabia mbaya ulitoa kwa mama yako. I know, we never like to hear it, Cindy. But yeah, what instantly tells you a person was not raised right? Their lack of integrity. I've told you mine. I want to hear yours. 0719012600. My line is open. And of course, you can tweet, Insta, TikTok, Thread. Thread me if you wanna. At SpiceFM KE on all the platforms. Yeah? Rihanna and Cal